Adam's spaceship had crash-landed on a distant, uncharted planet. The crash was violent, leaving the ship in pieces, with no way of contacting home. The surrounding environment was hostile, an endless, dry desert under a heavy orange sky. Adam's hope was dwindling with each passing day as he searched for supplies. He was a seasoned explorer, but this planet was unlike anything he had ever encountered. The air was thin, and the sun beat down harshly, leaving the land cracked and barren. He had been walking for what seemed like hours, the weight of the equipment on his back growing unbearable. His food supplies were nearly gone, and the last of his water had dried up. As he trudged across the endless landscape, he thought to himself, maybe this is the end. Then, as if the planet was giving him a final chance, Adam spotted something, a faint shimmer in the distance. It was unusual, a glow that didn't belong in this desolate world. His heart raced. Could it be a sign of life? With what little energy he had left, Adam pushed forward toward the shimmer. The heat of the planet pressed against him, but he didn't stop. As he drew closer, the glow faded, replaced by the sight of a figure lying motionless in the sand. It was a woman, but not like any human Adam had ever seen. Her skin was a deep shade of blue, shimmering in the light like liquid sapphire. Her body was slender yet muscular, and her features were strikingly alien, high cheekbones, a narrow nose, and sharp, elegant eyes. She wore a simple, torn garment that looked as though it had been through an ordeal. Adam knelt beside her, his breath catching in his throat. She's alive, he thought, though her pulse was faint, and her chest barely rose with each shallow breath. The woman's eyes were closed, her long hair tangled and caked with dirt. He could feel the heat radiating from her, but it wasn't the kind of warmth one should feel from a living body. Desperation and compassion surged through him. He had to do something. His training told him to leave no one behind, even if they were not human. Adam checked her vitals, but the readings were not good. Her heart rate was dangerously slow, and she was on the brink of death. He had no way of knowing who or what she was, but in that moment, that didn't matter. I can't just leave her here, he thought. He had no medical supplies left, and his knowledge of alien physiology was minimal. But he remembered something from his training, an ancient technique. If he could get her to drink his blood, it might give her the boost she needed to survive. He hesitated. Blood transfusions were a delicate matter, especially between different species. But Adam had no other choice. He quickly pulled out his emergency knife and sliced across his palm, wincing at the sharp pain. He pressed his hand to her lips, gently coaxing her mouth open. At first, nothing happened. But then, the woman's eyelids fluttered, and she stirred slightly. Adam's heart skipped a beat. She was alive. Slowly, her hand reached up, her fingers brushing against his. Adam held his breath, watching as the woman's eyes opened. They were a bright electric green, shining with a mixture of confusion and fear. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The woman's voice was a soft rasp, as though she had not spoken in days. "Who are you?" Her words were broken, as if the energy to form them took everything she had. "I'm Adam," he said softly, trying not to startle her. "I found you here. You were unconscious. He paused, unsure of how to explain what he had done. "I gave you some of my blood to save you. I didn't know if it would work, but I had to try." Her eyes widened slightly, but there was no fear in them, only a quiet, almost grateful acceptance. She was too weak to speak more, but she gave him a faint nod, her gaze softening as she seemed to understand his intentions. Adam could feel the weight of the moment between them, a human and an alien, connected by something as simple as the act of saving a life. The woman tried to sit up, but the effort made her body tremble. Adam quickly supported her, careful not to hurt her fragile form. She felt incredibly light in his arms, like a bird who had flown too far and had become too weak to return. I'm Ziria, she whispered, her voice still weak. I am from the planet Hytherion, a distant world far from here. I was on a mission when my ship was attacked. Adam nodded, trying to process her words. Hytherion. He had never heard of it before. He was curious, but more pressing matters were at hand. She needed rest, and he had no way of getting her back to his ship. Let's get you to shelter, Adam said, scanning the area for any sign of a nearby cave or structure. He couldn't let her stay exposed under the harsh sun. Ziria, despite her exhaustion, managed a faint smile. Thank you, Adam. You've saved me. But I owe you more than just my life. Adam helped her to her feet, and they began walking, one step at a time, toward an uncertain future. But something in the back of Adam's mind nagged at him. This woman, this alien, had a connection to him that he couldn't explain. The bond they shared after his sacrifice, the feeling of her hand in his, was like nothing he had ever felt before. As they walked through the barren land, Adam wondered, what was the cost of saving someone so unlike him? Would they ever truly understand each other, or was this just the beginning of a strange and dangerous journey? Adam had spent the last few hours helping Ziria walk through the harsh desert landscape. The air was dry, and the sun above them burned with an unforgiving intensity. Ziria, despite being weakened, was strong in spirit, and her determination to survive kept her going. Adam could see it in her eyes. She was not someone who easily gave up. As they walked, Ziria spoke quietly, her voice still weak but growing steadier with each word. Adam listened intently, trying to make sense of her words and the strange world she came from. I was part of a mission, Ziria explained, pausing for a moment to catch her breath. A diplomatic mission. We were supposed to make contact with other planets, share knowledge, and foster peace between our people. But something went wrong. My ship was attacked. I don't know who did it or why, but I was left stranded here. Adam's mind raced as he processed her words. A diplomatic mission? An alien race? His thoughts swirled with questions, but he decided to let Ziria continue. It was clear that she wasn't ready to explain everything, but he could see that she needed to speak. My people, she said softly, we are from the planet Hytherion. It is far from here, in a galaxy far beyond yours. We are a peaceful race, skilled in understanding energy and the flow of life. We do not fight wars like your kind. Instead, we seek to learn, to heal, to connect. Ziria's words held a quiet pride, but there was also a sadness that Adam could sense. He wanted to ask more about Hytherion, about her people, but he held back. He had the feeling that Ziria was still too vulnerable to share everything with him. We have the ability to heal, Ziria continued, her eyes distant as she recalled the memories. We can feel the energy in every living thing. When I was injured, I could not heal myself, and that's why I needed your help. Adam nodded, trying to understand. Energy, she said. Was it something like the force of nature or something more spiritual? The concept was beyond him, but there was no mistaking the sincerity in her voice. He had no idea how his blood had helped her, but somehow it had. What happened to the rest of your crew? Adam asked, breaking the silence. Ziria's face grew somber. She lowered her eyes, her steps slowing as the memory of the attack flooded her mind. I don't know. I was knocked unconscious when the ship was hit. I woke up here alone. There was nothing left of the ship, only the wreckage scattered across the surface. I tried to find survivors, but... Her voice trailed off. Adam could hear the pain in her voice. The loss of her crew, her mission, everything she had known. She had been sent to make peace, yet she had ended up in this strange, hostile place. Ziria stopped walking and turned to face him. Her green eyes locked onto Adam's, and for the first time, there was no sadness, only an intense focus. "I owe you more than my life, Adam. Your blood saved me. But I don't just want to thank you. I want to show you something." Adam was taken aback by her words. "Show me what?" Ziria smiled faintly, her expression softening. "There are things I can teach you. Things about energy, about life. You humans, you don't understand the connections between all things, but I can show you." Adam wasn't sure what she meant, but there was a curious glint in her eyes that made him wonder. What does she mean by energy? He thought. He had learned about technology, space, and exploration, but this was something new, something beyond his understanding. Without saying another word, Ziria reached out and touched Adam's arm. Her fingers were cool, almost as if she were absorbing the heat from his body. For a moment, Adam felt a strange sensation, a rush of energy that made his head spin like a current of power flowing through his veins. "Relax," Ziria said softly, noticing the surprise on his face. "This is what I mean. My people can connect with the energy that flows through everything. Plants, animals, even the stars. We understand it, and we can use it." Adam tried to focus as Ziria gently guided. His mind. He closed his eyes, taking slow, deep breaths. He could feel a presence, a connection, as if he was suddenly part of something much bigger than himself. The energy was invisible, but it was there, pulsing through everything around him. It was like the air itself had a rhythm, a heartbeat. Ziria's voice came again, calm and soothing. "You feel it, don't you? It's in everything. In you. In me. In the world around us. You humans don't realize it, but you are part of it. I can teach you to see it, to understand it." Adam was amazed. He had always been a man of science, relying on technology and logic. But this was something different. It was like a doorway had opened, showing him a world he hadn't known existed. He could feel the energy around him, could sense the pulse of the planet beneath his feet. I feel it," Adam whispered, his voice filled with wonder. "What is it?" Ziria's smile grew a little wider. "It's the flow of life. It's what binds everything together. The stars, the planets, the creatures, everything has its own energy, and when you understand it, you can do incredible things." Adam wasn't sure what to think, but he knew one thing for certain. This experience was unlike anything he had ever known. He had only scratched the surface of what Ziria could teach him. And for the first time since the crash, Adam felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't stranded here forever. "We need to keep moving," Ziria said after a long pause, breaking the connection. "There is a place I know, a shelter where we can rest. But there's more I must explain. It's not just the energy I can share with you." Adam nodded, his mind racing with the possibilities. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for sure. His life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. As the days passed, Adam and Ziria grew more accustomed to each other. The shelter Ziria had led him to was not what he had expected. It was a small, hidden cave surrounded by thick, spiny plants that seemed to thrive in the harsh desert environment. The air inside was cool and calm, a stark contrast to the relentless heat outside. It felt like a sanctuary, a place where they could rest, recover, and prepare for whatever lay ahead. At first, Adam had been skeptical about Ziria's talk of energy and how she claimed she could teach him to understand it. But the more time they spent together, the more he began to feel that there might be some truth to her words. He had noticed small changes in himself. His body felt stronger, more alert. Even the constant fatigue from the crash seemed to fade a little each day. It was as if her presence was somehow affecting him, charging him with something he couldn't explain. Ziria, for her part, seemed to recover quickly as well. Her alien abilities, whatever they were, allowed her to heal far faster than any human could. Her energy levels returned to normal, and she resumed her efforts to teach Adam about the strange invisible forces she spoke of. Each lesson was unlike any Adam had ever experienced. He had studied physics, biology, and space exploration, but none of it compared to what Ziria was showing him now. One evening, as the sun set, casting the desert in a soft, golden hue, Ziria sat cross-legged on the ground, her eyes closed in concentration. Adam sat across from her, trying his best to mirror her position. He had come to realize that there was more to Ziria than just her alien appearance. She was intelligent, kind, and deeply focused on the task of survival. And despite the vast differences between them, there was something that drew him to her. Something that made him want to understand her better. "This is where the energy flows most strongly," Ziria said, her voice soft but steady. She opened her eyes and looked at Adam. "Here, we can connect with it more easily. The desert has its own rhythm. Everything in nature does." Adam nodded, trying to focus. He still found it difficult to fully grasp what Ziria meant, but he trusted her. She had saved his life, after all, and since then, her guidance had been the only reason he was still surviving. If anyone could teach him to understand the forces she spoke of, it was her. Ziria extended her hand toward him. "Feel the energy in the ground beneath us. Close your eyes, relax, and listen. It's all around you." Adam did as she instructed, closing his eyes and letting his body relax. The desert air was cool now, the silence broken only by the faint sound of the wind outside the cave. As he breathed in deeply, he tried to quiet his mind, to focus on the feeling she had described. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but then something strange occurred. A subtle sensation, like a warmth, began to spread through him. It wasn't from the sun or the heat of the day, but something internal, something he could almost feel but not fully understand. It was as if the very earth was alive, pulsing beneath him. "There," Ziria whispered. "You feel it?" Adam's heart raced. I think so. It's like a current running through everything." Ziria smiled, her eyes sparkling. "Exactly. That's the energy I've been talking about. Everything around us is connected through it. Life, death, the stars, they all share the same force." Adam opened his eyes, still trying to wrap his head around what he had just felt. It was more than just a physical sensation. It was like he had tapped into something much bigger than himself. "This is incredible," he said, his voice filled. With awe, Ziria nodded. "And you are just beginning to understand. In time, you'll be able to control it, to use it. It's in everything, and once you learn to connect with it, you will see the world in a completely different way." As they continued their lessons, Adam began to notice more subtle shifts in his understanding. He could feel the energy in the air around him, the way the world seemed to vibrate with life. It was like everything had a purpose, a direction. Even the harsh desert, with its endless sand and rocks, seemed alive with energy. The plants that dotted the landscape, though they appeared simple and unimportant, were part of a larger system, connected to the land, the sky, and the stars. Ziria had been right. Everything was connected. As the days turned into weeks, Adam and Ziria's bond grew stronger. They worked together to gather food and water, using the knowledge Ziria shared with Adam to make the most of their resources. They had found a small oasis hidden deep in the desert, where water flowed beneath the surface. Ziria had sensed its presence long before they stumbled upon it, guiding Adam to the life-saving source. With her guidance, Adam had learned to tap into the energy around them to find food and shelter. It was as if the planet itself was giving them clues, whispering, its secrets to them through Ziria's abilities. But it wasn't just survival that brought them closer. They began to talk more, sharing stories about their pasts, their hopes, and their fears. Ziria told Adam about her home on Hytherion, a world of lush forests and crystal-clear lakes, where her people lived in harmony with nature. She spoke of her family, her culture, and the mission she had been on before everything had gone wrong. Adam, in turn, shared his own story, his life on Earth, his love for exploration, and his dreams of discovering new worlds. As they spoke, Adam realized just how much they had in common. Despite the vast distance between their home planets, they were both explorers at heart, both seeking something greater than themselves. One night, as they sat by a small fire, Adam couldn't help but feel a sense of peace. He had never expected to find himself on an alien world, surviving alongside an alien woman. But now, in the quiet of the desert night, it felt right. Ziria had become his companion, his guide, and maybe even something more. Ziria looked at him, her green eyes reflecting the firelight. "Adam," she said softly, "thank you for trusting me, for staying with me all this time." Adam smiled, warmth filling his chest. "I wouldn't have made it this far without you, Ziria." For a moment they sat in silence, the fire crackling between them. The desert stretched out beyond the cave, endless and mysterious. But Adam no longer felt alone. He had Ziria by his side, and that somehow made all the difference. The days continued to pass in the desolate desert. Adam and Ziria had become more than just companions. They had become friends, survivors, and a team. Adam had learned to use the energy Ziria had taught him to find food, water, and shelter. Each lesson brought him closer to understanding the strange forces that flowed through the world around them. It wasn't just knowledge, it was a new way of seeing, of feeling the connection between all living things. But despite their progress, Adam felt there was something more Ziria wasn't telling him. He could sense it in her eyes, the way she sometimes seemed lost in thought, as if her mind was far away. He had learned bits and pieces of her story, but he could tell there was much more beneath the surface. One evening, as the sun dipped below, the horizon casting long shadows across the desert, Ziria sat near the fire, her eyes focused on the flames. Adam watched her quietly, sensing that something was about to change. The air felt different, charged with anticipation. Ziria finally spoke, her voice soft and steady. "Adam, I have something I must tell you. It's not easy for me to say, but I owe you the truth." Adam sat up straighter, his curiosity piqued. "What is it?" Ziria took a deep breath, her fingers playing with the edge of her tunic. "When I was part of the mission, I was chosen for a very specific reason. My people, the Hytherians, have a unique ability. We can feel the life force in all things, and we can heal wounds, both physical and emotional. But there is something else we can do. Something more powerful." Adam leaned forward, sensing the gravity of her words. He had always known Ziria was special, but he hadn't fully understood just how much. "We can form bonds," Ziria continued. "Deep, unbreakable bonds with others, but it's not something we do lightly. It's a gift, and it comes with a responsibility. When I first met you, I felt that connection. I didn't know what it was at first, but it was there. And now, after everything we've been through, I can't ignore it any longer." Adam's heart raced. "What do you mean? A bond?" Ziria nodded slowly, her eyes meeting his. "A bond that goes beyond friendship. It's a connection that ties our lives together forever. I don't know how it works, but I know that it's real. And I feel it with you." Adam was stunned. The idea of such a bond between them was difficult to grasp. He had never experienced anything like it, but Ziria was sincere. He could see it in her eyes. You're saying we're connected in some way? Adam asked, trying to understand. Yes, Ziria replied softly. But it's not just a feeling. It's more than that. Our energies are linked. We share a part of each other, and that connection will never be broken. Not by distance, not by time. We are bound. Adam's mind raced. He had known that his life had changed since meeting Ziria, but he hadn't realized the depth of that change. He had never thought that something as abstract as energy could form such a powerful connection between two people, especially not between a human and an alien. Ziria looked down at her hands, her expression troubled. I didn't want to burden you with this, but I owe you my life, Adam. And now, this bond is part of us. It's a gift that I must repay. It's a promise. Promise? Adam repeated, his voice low. Ziria nodded. Yes. A promise that no matter what happens, I will never leave you. I will always be by your side, and in return you must accept this bond. It's a part of who we are now. Adam felt a mixture of emotions, surprise, uncertainty, and a strange sense of peace. He didn't fully understand everything Ziria had said, but he could feel the truth in her words. He could feel the connection, too, like an invisible thread pulling them together. He hadn't asked for it, but it was there, undeniable and strong. Ziria, I don't know what this means, Adam said slowly, but I trust you. And if this bond is something we share, then I'll accept it. We're in this together. Ziria smiled, a sense of relief washing over her. Thank you, Adam. You don't know how much that means to me. They sat in silence for a while, the sound of the crackling fire filling the air. The weight of Ziria's words hung between them, but there was no fear, no hesitation. For the first time in a long while, Adam felt like he had found a purpose, a reason to keep moving forward. The next morning, after a restful night, they set out again, determined to find a way off the planet. Ziria's energy teachings had made Adam stronger, more aware of the world around him. He could feel the pulse of the planet, the energy that flowed through the very air they breathed. It was as if he had awakened to a new reality, one where everything was connected in ways he had never imagined. As they walked through the desert, Adam couldn't help but notice the way Ziria moved, graceful, confident, with a quiet strength that matched the energy she had shared with him. She was not just a survivor, she was a part of something much bigger, something he was only beginning to understand. And as their journey continued, Adam realized that he was no longer just a stranger in an alien world. He was part of it, and Ziria was his guide. They spoke, less in the days that followed, the silence between them comfortable. But Adam knew something had changed. Their bond, whatever it was, had deepened. There was a new understanding between them, an unspoken connection that neither of them needed to explain. It was simply there, like the energy that flowed through everything in the universe. Ziria had made a promise, and Adam had accepted it. Their lives were now intertwined in a way that neither of them could undo. But as they walked forward, step by step, Adam couldn't help but feel that despite the strange and difficult path ahead, they were exactly where they needed to be. Days turned into weeks, and Adam and Ziria had grown even closer. The desert, once a hostile, barren place, had become their home, a place of strange beauty and quiet moments. As they continued their journey, Adam's understanding of Ziria's abilities deepened. Her power, her connection to the world around them, was unlike anything he had ever imagined. He had learned to harness the energy, to feel it flowing through his veins like an invisible thread that connected everything in the universe. Ziria had explained that her people, the Hetherians, believed in the balance of life and energy. They didn't see death as an end but as a part of an eternal cycle. And this balance, Ziria had told him, could be understood and respected through their rituals. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Ziria turned to Adam with a serious expression. On her face, the firelight danced in her eyes, casting shadows on her features. "Adam," she said, her voice soft but steady, "there is something I must do to repay you for saving my life. It's a tradition of my people, a ritual that honors the one who has saved another's life. It's not just a simple thank you, but a gesture of true gratitude." Adam raised an eyebrow, unsure of what she meant. He had already done more than enough for her in his eyes. He didn't need anything in return. But there was something about Ziria's tone that told him this was important to her, something deeply rooted in her culture. "What kind of ritual?" Adam asked, curiosity piqued. Ziria took a deep breath. "It's called the rite of energy exchange. It is a sacred ceremony in which the one who is saved offers their energy in return, to form a deeper bond between the two. It's not just about gratitude. It's a way of connecting on a level beyond words, beyond understanding. It's about honoring what we've shared." Adam's heart skipped a beat. A ritual? He had no idea what to expect, but the way Ziria spoke about it made it seem both personal and important. He had no idea what was involved, but he felt a strange sense of peace. Whatever it was, he trusted Ziria completely. "Will it hurt?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine concern. Ziria smiled, shaking her head. "No, it won't hurt. In fact, it will make you stronger, more attuned to the energy we share. You'll feel it, Adam. You'll feel it more deeply than you've ever felt anything before." Adam hesitated for a moment, but then nodded. He trusted her, and he realized that no matter what the ritual was, it was a part of her culture. It was her way of showing gratitude, of honoring their connection. "When do we begin?" Adam asked. Ziria's expression softened. "We begin at dawn, when the energy is at its strongest. The desert will guide us. Follow me, and I'll show you what it means to honor the life we've shared." The next morning, as the first light of day touched the sky, Ziria led Adam to a secluded part of the desert, a place that felt different from the rest. The ground here was covered in soft golden sand, and the air was still, as if the world was holding its breath. In the distance, a few strange plants stood tall, their leaves shimmering in the early light. Ziria paused, turning to Adam. "This is where the ritual takes place," she said, her voice calm yet filled with purpose. "This is a sacred space, where the energy flows most freely." Adam looked around, sensing the change in the air. It was as if the very ground beneath his feet was alive with power, a subtle hum that he could feel deep within himself. He had learned to sense the energy now, and he could feel it all around him, pulsing gently in the atmosphere. Ziria took a step forward and knelt in the sand. "We must both be still. Clear your mind and focus on the connection between us. The energy will guide us." Adam followed her lead, kneeling beside her. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, trying to quiet his thoughts. He could hear the soft wind and feel the warmth of the sun on his skin. But there was something more, something deeper. He could feel the energy like a current flowing through the air, through the ground, and even through his own body. Ziria placed her hands on the ground, her fingers gently touching the sand. "Let the energy flow through you," she whispered. "Let it fill you. Let it connect you to everything around us." Adam followed her instructions, placing his hands on the sand as well. For a moment, nothing happened, but then slowly, he began to feel something. It started as a faint warmth, a tingling sensation in his fingertips, but soon it spread through his body, filling him with a strange sense of peace. Ziria's voice broke through his thoughts. "Now, we share our energy. Let your energy flow into mine and mine into yours. It's the exchange that bonds us. The connection is sacred." Adam hesitated for only a moment before he focused on the energy within him, willing it to flow. As he did, he felt a surge of warmth, a rush of power that seemed to travel from his hands and into Ziria. She, too, seemed to be channeling her energy back into him, and for a brief moment they both became still, connected in a way that Adam could not fully explain. It was a peaceful sensation, almost as if time itself had slowed. Adam could feel Ziria's presence in a way he never had before, her energy mingling with his, creating a bond that was stronger than anything physical. He could feel her emotions, her gratitude, her deep sense of purpose, and in turn, he offered his own energy, his own connection to the world around them. The connection lasted only a few minutes, but to Adam, it felt like an eternity. When it finally ended, both of them pulled their hands away from the sand, breathing deeply. The world seemed different now, quieter, as if the energy had settled around them in a way that made everything clearer. Ziria smiled at Adam, her eyes glowing with warmth. The ritual is complete. The bond between us is now stronger, deeper than it ever was before. Adam smiled back, feeling a sense of peace he couldn't explain. I feel different, like I'm more connected to everything. You are, Ziria replied softly. And now, we are truly linked, forever. The desert had changed for Adam. It no longer felt like a hostile wasteland, but a place full of potential. Each step he took felt purposeful, and the energy Ziria had shared with him had opened his eyes to the world in a way he could never have imagined. The bond they now shared was not just physical, but spiritual. He could feel her presence even when she was far away, as though their energies were forever intertwined. For the first time since the crash, Adam wasn't afraid. There was a new calm within him, a sense of certainty that no matter what came next, he would face it with Ziria by his side. The connection between them had made him stronger, more in tune with the universe around him. It was as if the desert itself had accepted him, as if the planet were alive with possibility. Ziria, too, seemed to have changed. Her eyes were brighter, her movements more confident. She had always been strong, but now, with the bond between them, Adam could sense a new sense of purpose in her. She was no longer just surviving. She was living, fully and completely. The days that followed the ritual were quieter. Adam and Ziria spent their time preparing for the next phase of their journey. Ziria had taught him how to tap into the energy of the planet, how to harness it for survival. Together, they had found new sources of food and water, discovered hidden places where life thrived in the harshest conditions. But despite their success, Adam knew they couldn't stay here forever. The crash had left him stranded, and while the desert had become home, it was not where he truly belonged. One morning, as they sat on a high ridge overlooking the desert, Ziria turned to Adam. "It's time to leave," she said, her voice steady but filled with something else, anticipation. "We can't stay here forever. There's more out there, Adam. My people are waiting for me." Adam nodded. He had known this day would come. He had always known he couldn't remain in this place. But leaving felt different now. It wasn't just about surviving. It was about the future. The future they would face together. He had never imagined that, after all the hardships, he would find a new purpose. But now, with Ziria, he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. "I'm ready," Adam said quietly. He didn't need to say more. His words were enough. Ziria smiled, and for the first time, Adam saw a flicker of something deeper in her expression. Hope. "Good. We'll need to travel far, but I know a way. I've been to the stars before, and I can get us there again." They spent the next few days preparing for the journey. Ziria's knowledge of the stars was vast. She had been a diplomat, traveling to distant worlds, meeting with different species. Her people were known for their wisdom, their ability to connect with others. She spoke of a ship hidden deep in the mountains of the planet, one that could carry them far away from this place. As they packed their things and said goodbye to the desert that had become their home, Adam couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude. The desert had taught him much about survival, about energy, and about himself. It had changed him, and in a way it had brought him and Ziria closer. But now, it was time to leave. There was more to explore, more to learn. The journey to the ship was not an easy one. The terrain grew more treacherous as they climbed the mountains, the air thinning as they rose higher. But with each step, Adam felt stronger. Ziria's presence beside him was like a constant source of energy guiding him forward. After several days of difficult travel, they finally reached the ship. It was hidden in a cavern, its sleek metallic surface gleaming in the dim light. Adam had seen many ships in his life, but none like this. It was not a human-made vessel. The technology was beyond anything he had ever encountered. The ship seemed to hum with energy, as if it were alive, waiting for them. Ziria led Adam inside, and the moment they stepped into the ship, Adam could feel the difference. The air inside was filled with a strange energy, one he had never felt before. It was as if the ship itself was part of the planet, part of the energy they had connected with. It was a fusion of technology and life, a perfect harmony between the two. "This ship is a gift from my people," Ziria explained as she began activating the controls. "It can travel across galaxies through time and space. It's the only way I can return home, and it's the only way we can leave this planet." Adam nodded, still in awe of the ship. "How does it work?" Ziria smiled. "It works with the energy just like we do. The ship is attuned to the planet's energy, and to mine. It will carry us wherever we need to go." Adam felt a thrill of excitement rush through him. This was it. The journey they had been preparing for was finally here. They were leaving the desert, leaving the planet, and embarking on a new adventure together. As Ziria navigated the ship's controls, Adam sat back, feeling the hum of the ship beneath him. The desert was now far behind, and ahead of them lay the unknown. But Adam no longer felt fear. With Ziria by his side, he knew they could face anything. The ship lifted off, slowly, at first, and then faster, faster than Adam had ever experienced. They shot through the atmosphere, leaving the planet behind. As they passed through the clouds and into the stars, Adam looked out the window, watching the planet grow smaller and smaller. Ziria turned to him, her green eyes glowing with a mixture of excitement and determination. "We're heading to Hytherion, Adam, my home. But it's not just about getting there. It's about everything that lies ahead. Together we will explore the stars, and together we will shape the future." Adam smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He was no longer just a man stranded on an alien world. He was part of something much bigger, and with Ziria, he was ready to face whatever came next.